Are there any personal explanations? I call the member for Whitsunday.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. Well, Mr Speaker, I rise in the chamber here this morning after some developments last week in relation to an allegation or a series of allegations that were put to the Liberal National Party last year from a woman I've never met, which ultimately led to my rapid-fire demise from the LNP. Mr Acting Speaker, I stand here in the pursuit of truth and justice. And before I table some documents electronically in accordance with your advice as Acting Speaker here this morning, I want to thank my supporters and my family and loved ones for their show of faith in what have been some of my darkest hours. Mr Acting Speaker, the woman who was behind all this has withdrawn her complaint. Mr Acting Speaker, Heather McEwen withdrew that complaint on Black Friday last month, on March 13. And I'm sure I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall at LNP headquarters. I'm not taking the interjection.
Order, member. The explanation will be heard in silence. I call the member for Whitsunday.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. And 4 days later, I received through my legal team a personally signed apology from Ms McEwen, in which she apologised to me for the hurt and damage to myself and my family. And again, I'll table those documents electronically, as I should. Mr Acting Speaker, in that apology, Ms McEwen referenced the remarks that she posted on social media, and in relation to that, she said that those comments were, and I quote, entirely unjustified. Mr Acting Speaker, today, on the back of all of that in this place, in keeping with what I said in my electorate last Wednesday, I call on the Leader of the Opposition, the Deputy Leader of the Opposition and the members for Kawana and Chatsworth to apologise to myself and my family for what they said in this chamber and outside the chamber. And furthermore, I call on those 4 MPs, my former colleagues in the team that I used to walk over hot coals for. I call on them to fall on their swords and resign. Mr Acting Speaker, furthermore, I want to also touch on what the Whitsunday Regional Council did after my demise with the LNP on February 1 last year. That is when the faceless men delivered a political execution, a rapid-fire political execution. 12 days later, the Whitsunday Regional Council, Acting Speaker, moved a motion effectively trying to ban me from my schools and my electorate, and against, I understand, the advice of the Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Council. Now, some of those councillors are no longer in local government, but some are. And what happened there, Mr Acting Speaker, was utterly disgraceful as well. And so today, here in the People's Chamber, I call on the Mayor of Whitsunday, Andrew Wilcox, and councillors Mike Brunker, John Collins and Jan Clifford to also apologise to myself and my family and resign. And if they don't, Mr Acting Speaker, then the Minister for Local Government should step in and sack them.
Order, members.
Mr Acting Speaker, as I conclude, to say this has been a shocking time in my life is an understatement. I don't mind people criticising me for policy, whether it's shooting crocodiles on our beaches, burning coal for cheaper power, or forgetting about feasibility studies to build dams. But when people make up stories and attack me and my family, I draw the line. My children, my girls, have suffered the pain that I've gone through as well, Acting Speaker. One of my daughters is still in high school, and last year I didn't even know Acting Speaker. For much of the year she went through school oblivious to me, and she needed counselling on the back of what happened to her daddy in Queensland. It's really knocked my two girls around. So the Leader of the Opposition can talk about her daughters. Well, she doesn't have a mortgage on kids, and she doesn't have a mortgage on having daughters either. So, Mr. Acting Speaker, I appreciate the indulgence of the House here this morning. You know, my kids, I live for my kids. You know, I love representing my community in the Parliament as the MP for Whitsunday and now Leader of North Queensland First. But to see what's happened to them has been heartbreaking for me. Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker.
Speaker.
I call the